that the conversation continues now with RNC Chairman Michael Whatley, who joins us here on National Report. Mr. Chairman, welcome back to the program here. We've got so much to talk about with U.S. politics, but let's start with what's happening in the Middle East, if we can. There's some concern about what retaliation might look like and overall what the U.S. involvement could or could not be in the situation. What will you be watching for next moves by the Trump administration?
Well, the president has made it very clear that any retaliation against American troops as a result of this attack will be met with a very strong force, and that Iran does not need to come after American forces at all. We're going to see the president has a meeting in the Situation Room at 11 o'clock today, and we'll see what comes out of that conversation.
Yeah, anxiously waiting to see what the U.S. role in this is going forward. We'll continue to follow this throughout the day and watch what's happening very closely. David Hogg also on his way out. Let's shift to politics now at the DNC. This was polarizing. I mean, a 25-year-old progressive announced on Wednesday that he would be foregoing the re-election to keep his spot here as the vice chairman after the members voted to redo the elections of Hogg. Fellow chairman Malcolm Kenyatta, Hogg said this in a statement, quote, I want to get to this. There is a fundamental disagreement about the role of the vice chair, and it's okay to have disagreements. What isn't okay is allowing this to remain our focus when there is so much more that we need to be focused on. Your reaction there, Chairman?
Look, the Democrats are going to have internal squabbling. They're going to have fighting. But the fact is that every single person who wants to be a leader within the Democratic Party, including David Hogg, including Jasmine Crockett, including AOC, Bernie Sanders and others, they are wanting to take that party to the left. They want to see the United States as a country with open borders, inflationary spending, and a weak America and a weak standing in the world. That is just generally where the Democratic Party is, and it's not going to sell to the American people as long as the Republican Party is going to stay focused on every family and every community, going to make sure that we have a strong economy, strong borders, and a strong standing in the world. Then we're going to be where we need to be to compete in these elections.
Maybe you saw it yesterday, Mr. Chairman. There was so much news, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
But DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was out in California. There was a California Senator, Alex Padilla, who was trying to ask a question when she was not taking questions in the moment. And ultimately, he was escorted out after coming under, the response by Secret Service agents. Is this something that cabinet members should be concerned about here? Did you believe that Secret Service handled the matter appropriately when you were watching it play out?
Yeah, they absolutely did. That we have seen 2 assassination attempts on President Trump, and you have an unidentified man trying to storm the podium and shouting at a cabinet secretary. He needed to be removed. He did not identify himself as a senator. He did not ask for a private one-on-one meeting. What he did was a political stunt that, frankly, could have been a dangerous political stunt. Kristi Noem actually met with him later on, which I think is very responsible on her part. But what he did was very irresponsible, political stunt, and could have, frankly, been dangerous.
Yeah, we're seeing that from the Democrats right now. I mean, if you look at what happened with Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, now she's facing federal charges. She could face more than a decade in prison given the outburst that we've seen in response to what the Trump administration is doing. What do you make of where the Democrats are at in terms of fighting back, as they say, against the Trump initiative and agenda?
It is stunning to me that the Democrats are always on the 20 side of an 80-20 issue. And when it comes to illegal immigration and it comes to these ICE protests and riots, the fact that they are actually defending the rioters, that they are defending, the violence that we're seeing in Los Angeles right now, it's starting to spread across the country. These are intentional riots. These are well-funded, well-organized riots. And the fact that they're spreading from Los Angeles around the country right now with the backing of Democrat political leaders, Randy Weingarten and others, is frankly dangerous for our communities. The Republican Party, President Trump in particular, are going to fight for our communities. They're going to protect our communities. We do not want to see, our cities burned down like they were in 2020, and the president is not going to allow that to happen.
Sure. What we've seen in Los Angeles is reminiscent for some of what happened in 2020 when the Black Lives Matter protests turned into riots, and you saw major damage to American cities across the country and also law enforcement officers. And yet here is how one member of Congress, this is Democratic Congressman Stephen Lynch of Massachusetts, talked about ICE agents. Let's watch.
What we've found is that men actually care about the same things that progressives care about. Young men want affordable housing. They want better access to health care, but they're not being invited into the conversation, and they're not seeing themselves reflected in the progressive coalition that Democrats purport to work for.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, that's clearly the wrong soundbite here. If our team wants to cue it up, that's fine. In the meantime, could I get your reaction to that? And maybe the efforts here to connect with young men. You think the fiery protests are the way to do it?
No, they're absolutely not. You know, the fact is that the American people spoke very loudly last November in the elections when they sent President Trump Republican majorities in the House and the Senate. And immigration, illegal immigration, was one of two primary issues that we had in the election, obviously the economy being the other one. You know, but the fact is that the American people are not comfortable with what President Biden did to bring in 15, 20 million illegal immigrants. They're not comfortable with having violent criminal illegal aliens in their communities and taking them over like we saw in Aurora, Colorado. The American people want violent criminal illegal aliens deported. It is amazing to me that the Democratic Party is doubling down on this issue and is fighting harder for violent criminal illegal aliens than they are their own constituents.
All right. We're out of time for our conversation today, so our viewers will just have to stay tuned, and we will get them that soundbite. Michael Whatley, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Chairman.
Thanks, guys.
All right.